Hey everybody, it's Captain Kyle and I'm here with another favorite Transformers video. This time, I'm gonna go over my 5 favorite Beast Wars Maximals. Now, I don't want to confuse this. These are the toys. There's some characters that were in the show that I might have liked slightly better than some of these toys, but we're just going by toys. The toys of those other characters might not have been as good, but we're gonna go through these 5. Let's get started. Be right back. So you might infer from my saying that it's not necessarily characters from the show, but toys, that there might be some toys that did not appear on the show that are on this list. And there is, but unlike with the Predacons, which will be coming later, there's only one that did not appear on the show, though he kind of did. So let's start with him. First one is Optimus Primal, but the Bat. Yes, this came in a 2-pack with an alligator version of Megatron, and actually this 2-pack seemed to imply that this was Optimus Prime just as a beast. But I definitely liked the flip changer Transformers. I've said it before, I'll say it again. When you're playing with your Transformers, not that I ever play with my Transformers except every other day. Okay, stop falling over. I used to have to be like, all right, Autobots, transform and roll out. And you'd spend half an hour or more transforming all the Autobots into vehicles. Then you'd roll them to the scene of the battle. Autobots, transform and attack. And it would take you half an hour or more to transform them all back into robots. And then you could get started with the battle. Flip changers, on the other hand, are much easier to transform. One flick and they're pretty much in their robot modes, and then you just add the weapons. So I enjoyed the Bat. I even did have the red version from Japan that came with the purple Megatron alligator. That went in the Great Purge. But this guy I happen to keep, and he's got very cool weapons. 2 swords, scimitars, very similar and reminiscent of what would come later. Is it reminiscent if it comes later? Well, when they did the Ape version, I know some of you people are there like, truck, not monkey, but my introduction to the Beast Wars was for the show. So I never figured that Optimus Primal was supposed to be Optimus Prime, just a new leader, because many centuries had passed. But the Ape version would have 2 swords as well, so it was kind of neat that they kind of kept that. Now this is original way back. He's got a little bit of a distortion in one of his shoulders, so it doesn't quite line up the way it should. But overall, he's a very cool figure, and like many of the Beast Wars and the unreleased G2s that these were somewhat based on, quite posable. Now he can't do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. I mean, he can get the legs in the position, but his tail kind of makes it so you can't really go crotch down. But lots of mobility in the legs, not going backwards too much, but side kicks and front kicks and bend at the knee. Could swivel the legs all the way around. He could point the toe, so he could do a roundhouse kick, because that's how you do a roundhouse kick, in case you don't know. So he was very cool at the time, and he still holds up. The arms are on ball joints, and if it weren't for the wings, could go all the way around. Bend at the elbow, swivel out. The fists don't turn, but still, the arms are quite nice. The head can turn, which is neat. Again, having grown up with G1, turning a head was something that was not all that common. I mean, like Soundwave could do it, and a few others, but not as many as in Beast Wars. Now, there's no twisting at the waist, because he's got the whole mechanism there, and the transformation is so simple. The weapon storage was awesome. You could just put the swords into the wings, and this has appeared in other videos because I have some knockoffs of this guy who are oversized, and I did bring this guy into those videos, but he's just a very cool transformer. You pop the tail down, lock him into place, and you might have to adjust the legs a bit, but there he is as a bat with a mouth that opens and closes. So very cool. Lots of Ghibli stuff on the bottom, but it is a flip changer, so you can't expect too much. Not with a beast mode. But from the top, definitely looks like a nice bat, and this guy has a special place in my heart. Though I will admit, I came to the Beast Wars a little bit late. I went through phases. I went through collecting G1, and then when G2 came around, I kind of saw a swindle and said, why do I need that? And kind of stopped collecting. It wasn't until Beast Wars came, and it was a little later, because my first Beast Wars Transformer, who is not one of my favorites, but he does have a space in my heart for him, was Buzzclaw, which it's amazing I continued collecting Beast Wars after that. But then I went back and I got all of them, including Bat Primal. So that is the first one on my list, and I definitely have to say Beast Wars got me back into collecting. Now then the Great Purge came, and I stopped collecting for a while, and then Siege came, and I was hooked again. So I am now in my third phase of Transformer collecting. All right, next one on my list is Cheetor, but the Transmetal version, not the Transmetal 2. Transmetal 2 kind of looked funky to me. The non-Transmetal one, a good bot, but this one I definitely liked the upgrade. Now he's got the backpack with his legs on it. He's got the tail weapon. It's kind of a whip with a blade on it. And, you know, in the show he could put his paws, well, his hands, and shoot blasts out of there. But he's a very cool bot, almost able to do a Jean-Claude Van Damme, but he can't quite get his legs all the way. He could do a split, but he can't quite get to the straight line 180 degrees from each foot with the Jean-Claude Van Damme. But very cool character in the show, very cool toy, loved the toy, and some of the repaints that came later on, and very maneuverable. Now, Beast Wars didn't have any kind of ankle tilts, but they were still able to generally be posed pretty wide-legged. But he could kick forward, he could kick back, not as much, but he could do a side kick, and if you really wanted to get up there, you'd have to use the other leg, so he could be like that. And he bent at the knee. Now he has kind of this other joint, but that's more for beast mode, so kind of ignore that in robot mode. And you could move the feet back and forth. Spot on smooth. Now, he actually did twist at the waist. In fact, you could twist him all the way around. And it's not part of the transformation, so it's just kind of nice. They decided to add that in there. His arms can kind of go all the way around. You kind of got to avoid the backpack kibble there. Bend at the elbow, swivel out. His hands are like these weird, like claw type things, but you can go to the side. I would say his hands being kind of weird is a minus, but they made it work. So lots of posability there, and the head, of course, could turn all the way around. He could even kind of look abashed, look forward, though if you push it too far forward, he can't see shit. So yeah, a very cool looking Transformer, and if you wanted, you could take his tail weapon and shove it up his ass, and that could be weapon storage. He would just have something dangling between his legs, but who doesn't? Well, half the population of the Earth, but you know, c'est la vie. But his Transmetal Beast mode was very cool, and the transformation isn't too difficult. Pretty clever, in fact. Now, he is mechanical, like, you know, part beast, part machine, almost like a cyborg, because he is transmetal. So he's not exactly accurate to what a cheetah would look like, but he's still identifiable as a robot cheetah. And there he is. You can look at him from all the angles. You can see his tail there sticking out of his butt. Had to adjust his head a little bit, but he's a cool looking cybernetic animal. But the cool part was you could actually pull out his jets, and that's something that in the show made him fly. And some people may or may not realize this, but you could push the jets forward. It's easy to use the tail to do that, to give him bigger jets, and he could fly around and now have air power and fight Waspinator. Come on, Waspinator! Let's go!
Why get about flying? Not sure. No boy, gonna end up in CR chamber.
But Cheetor, very cool beast mode with the enhancements, and just overall a cool looking figure. And the chrome is not too bad. It's been holding up all these years. Vroom, and he could fly. So that's the second. The third is also a flip changer, and he's from the show. Yes, I have to admit that the guys that I'm showing you, most of them are from the show, except for Bat Primal, so you can try to guess ahead. But Rattrap was again a flip changer, had a very cool gun that actually could split in two, and great character on the show, but the toy was very cool as well, and just very easy to transform and such. And pretty posable, though you could knock the gun out of his hand. Oh boy, I need my gun, we're all gonna die. But he could do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme, but again, same problem with the Primal, is the kibble on his back doesn't allow him to go all the way down to the floor with his crotch, but he could kick forward, actually higher than the Optimus Primal, not backwards. Backwards, you're stuck. But good side kick, and he could go really high. The arms, again, if it weren't for the sides of the rat go all the way around, but could go forward and back and to the side and bend at the elbow and swivel and all that stuff. And they did just do a reissue of this guy. I don't know what the differences are. I did buy the reissue, but I left it in the package. So this is an original, but a cool looking, though not the most stable of bots in more ways than one. But the transformation was pretty simple. He just basically folded, and it's a little bit better than the Bat Primal because his sides are very nicely covered. Oh, but before I do that, there is weapon storage. So the weapon, if you're not familiar, comes apart, and you can put one part in one side of the body, and the other part, the barrel, in the other side of the body, and then you could transform him. So great weapon storage and a quick and easy transformation. And there he is. They call me Rattrap because I'm a rat and I set traps. Now you're all gonna die. That's just prime. So that's the third one. Very cool. Rattrap, great character, voiced by Scott McNeil on the show. Now another toy was also on the show, voiced by Scott McNeil. He was known as Silverbolt. And it's kind of interesting that in both my G1 Autobots and G2 Autobots, I have a Silverbolt, and there's one here in Beast Wars. That streak will end with Beast Machines, just to let you know. But he's a Fuzor, half eagle, half wolf. Very cool. I mean, he's got rather large wings. He's got his tail feathers along the back, but he definitely looks a lot better from the front. He's got these missiles that can shoot out of his wings, which can also go into his hands as swords, clubs, something like that. Now, I know they're going to be putting out a legacy version of this guy. I'm looking forward to it. And I actually do have another Silverbolt sealed in the package, which I'm not going to open up because it is signed by Scott McNeil, but that is put away. But very cool. He's got weapons that are functional in both forms, and he could do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. Even his crotch plate kind of gives him stability because he's got the heels from his talons. But full Jean-Claude Van Damme, kicks forward very nicely, kicks back pretty nicely, just got to avoid the tail feathers. Goes to the side, bends at the knee. Now, there is not really a swivel. That's one bad part, but can kind of slightly swivel it because there's a ball joint, but other than that, that's it. There's also no twisting at the waist. His transformation does not allow for it. His arms, if it weren't for his wings, could go all the way around. Now you could take the wings, which are posable themselves, and push them up, and then his arms could go all the way around. Looks kind of funky with the wings like way up like that. Some people have them angled up. I actually prefer them right to the side. Just my preference. You do what you want to do. And the head kind of turns, except because of how it's nestled into there, it doesn't turn all the way around. You might be able to force it, but his head would probably pop off. And I mean, it's got ball joints on a lot of stuff, so limbs can fall off and you can pop them back on. But he's very cool and a noble warrior. Black Arachnia, I will save you. Now, transforming him, it's a clever transformation, not too difficult. And while you can't do it with the speed of a flip changer, you can actually get him transformed pretty quickly. So there is Silverbolt as a winged wolf, half eagle, half wolf, something like that. The Fuzor. And just overall, a very cool looking transformer. Again, you can adjust the wings, posability in beast mode. You can definitely move the front legs and talons around. Back legs, you kind of can go back and forth. They can bend a little bit, but then you can reveal the fists. So I wouldn't go too far with that. But a very cool character, a very cool toy. There's no jaw articulation. There might be on the new one, who knows? But just a very cool transformer, very cool character, very cool Fuzor, very cool Maximal. He's got it all going on. All right, and my final one is Optimus Primal as monkey. No, actually as an ape, he is not a monkey. Now this is actually the reissue that they put out, and I didn't realize till I recently opened it that they changed the color of the swords to a more of a teal instead of the dark blue. Same thing with the missiles, and they made, some other coloration changes. Now you might say, Kyle, during the Great Purge, if he's such a favorite, why didn't you keep him? Well, I got rid of this one because I had this one, which was released later, does not have the mutant mask, and is a little more show accurate because he's gray. So all the same types of stuff, and I like this one a little bit better, but I'm not saying that this one is not awesome. The original He does have the mutant face, which they were doing in the beginning, and it is actually reminiscent of his bat form, which is interesting. But this guy, I have to say, you know, other than the mutant face, which again, I don't really use, he is full of gimmicks, very awesome figure that you can just do so much with. But quickly on the posability, he can kind of do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. I say kind of because, I mean, his knees don't straighten out 100%, but still, that's pretty darn impressive. And he can kick forward, he can kick back, but his butt plate and stuff gets in the way, to the side, bending at the knee, no major swiveling, slight swiveling. That's pretty much it for the swiveling. He does twist at the waist. That's part of the transformation, so it wasn't just put in there for fun, but he can twist at the waist. The arms can go all the way around. He can also bend at the elbow. Oops, preview of coming attractions. Bend at the elbow, he's got a nice swivel with a little bit of a ratcheting sound. The fists don't turn, but he's very posable there. The head you've already seen can turn all the way around if you want, but then he's got the mutant mask, so can he still see? Sure, why not? But he has got gimmicks up the wazoo. Well, first of all, he's got a switch in the back here that can move his arms from side to side just by flicking the switch up and down. So he can be like, me, monkey. Okay, I'm an ape. He also, if you press this button, can release his 2 over-the-shoulder missile launchers, which were featured in the show, though they didn't show this plate here. And he's got 2 more missiles in storage back here. There's 2 slots for him there. But wait, there's more. Well, he's got these 2 great swords, which are, again, reminiscent of the Bat Primal, but there's weapon storage for them in the back here. You can just plug them in on the sides and then cover him, so he's, you know, doesn't appear ready for war. But wait, there's more. Because on this hand, if you pull back on this, he's got a double barrel missile launcher, which you can take these 2 other missiles, which are stored back here, as I mentioned before, and plug them in. Unfortunately, you have to load them after you bring the barrels out, but still, it's a cool gun hand. Don't fall over. Jeez, man, it's your time to shine. Show you're worthy of the title of leader. I would say, you know, as good as Optimus Prime, but let's not go too far here. And again, when they're not in use, there are 2 slots back here. You can plunk them in, and there you go. But wait, there's more. This guy's got so many gimmicks. If you open up his other forearm, he's got a flail, which you would think is more of a Megatron weapon, but especially since it looks like a skull with spikes on it. But basically, he can beat the crap out of his enemies with a flail or hit himself. So this guy is loaded for war. He's got all these weapons, very posable. So when I got this, I was like, yeah, this is one of the coolest guys ever. The only thing that could have been better would be to make him gray like the show, but you know, the toy probably slightly predated their models on the show, or it was too late, whatever. And the later version without the mutant head, that's the only real issue other than the coloration, is the mutant head is there, and we don't really use that. It was clever in this show that they used for some characters the mutant head instead of the robot head that was available to them. Well, luckily they didn't use the one for Optimus Primal because he would have looked freaky. Now the other thing with this model, why I kept it, is he's got a mouth, which Optimus Primal did in the show, though he could cover it over like a battle mask, which has been used a lot of times in the various Transformers series. Now, let's get into the beast mode, which is pretty simple. I mean, an ape and a human, very similar configuration. The only flaw with this mold is sometimes the ear joints come out from the beast head. But there he is as an ape, very fine black gorilla. And with that switch in the back, you could do the whole chest pounding type thing, though you might want to bend the elbows a little more than I did. Ooga booga. And Sky is here. She is also a favorite Maximal, so I'm gonna add her as number 6. She doesn't like to transform a lot. She likes to stay undercover. Come on, Sky, maximize. But yeah, Optimus Primal, very cool ape. Again, I did not see them as replacing Optimus Prime any more than they really replaced Optimus Prime with Rodimus Prime. It was just Optimus probably was retired, all that kind of stuff. But there you have it, my 5 favorite Maximals. Yes, I am going to do the 5 favorite Predacons. That will be the next video. Then we'll move on to some other lines. But please let me know what your favorite Maximals from the Beast Wars line are. And I will, of course, put links to all these guys in the description. I don't think it really matters if you get the reissue, which this is not. but this is of these guys because they're pretty much identical, except for coloration changes in the weapons. I do have the reissue of Rattrap, again, in the package. I don't know if they made any coloration changes, but they're cool regardless of where you get them from. So I really hope you're having fun watching these favorites videos, as much fun as I have sharing them with you. And while you're mulling these guys over, you can go and you can check out this video over here, which is actually the new Tasmania Kid from Beast Wars 2nd versus the new Legacy version. So another cool video to check out. But we will see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.